okay, this system is currently clean, but if I ever drop over dead, call it a watchdog monitor is another way of looking at it too. That's a good indication that that VM has been compromised, whereupon you bring down that VM and you bring up a new one, and your operation, your enterprise operation is up as soon as possible. Certainly a lot faster than it is today. Virtual jail cells, drive-by downloads are particularly insidious. Today we've got bots. Bots are the most prolific challenge that we have today. I described in an earlier talk how there is an exponential rise in the last 2 years especially, whereby we are experiencing over 30% of all malware ever has been experienced within the last 2 years. This is primarily through the use of Trojans. The bad guys using Trojans to deliver bots to networks, computer robotic programs that live down quietly in your system, that communicate outward to other computer systems and act as a funnel, a portal, taking personal information and funneling it off to a bot herder, a bot master, who takes your credit card information, your social security number, your sales database, and sells it to somebody else. Because today it's a profession. Well, this is the mechanism by which that profession is perpetuated. So the ability for a system to ultimately detect that kind of robotic operation is pretty valuable. And again, virtualization comes about there. Drive-by downloads are the mechanism that when you go to a website, and oftentimes you go to a bad website, you don't even know it. And it's a bad website because bad stuff, Trojans primarily, get downloaded without your control to the system and ultimately install the bots. If you had a jail cell, a protected boundary area of memory, aka virtual machine, that your browser lived in, and after any browsing session to a given website, that website or that jail cell, that your browser space, were scanned and detected to be free of malware, then anything in there, including legitimate files that you would have downloaded, could be promoted to general computer memory space. A great value, a great service will have been performed to your individual users doing the browsing. Any kind of automated program that accesses the network, not just a human interaction browser, could similarly benefit from that kind of virtualized protection, jail cell. Data leakage prevention, DLP, and I mentioned NAC, the containment of data, the containment of good data from getting out, the containment of bad data from getting out too. Again, the malware and the botnet types of information. There's the virtual case testing in the jail cell that I mentioned. Of course, AV, firewall, antivirus, firewall, anti-spyware, anti-spam, intrusion protection, all of these different kinds of capabilities we have now are able to be implemented and leveraged in a virtual system from inside or outside, again, protected from the malware that it's actually looking to detect. Protected from the malware it's trying to detect. Patching and remediation has an immense benefit. The ability that a virtual machine, virtualized systems, virtualized bots, if you will, to mix a term there, are able to automatically provision with updates and reduce the time required for quarantining and otherwise getting your system back into an operational state when it is found to be out of it. Now, I've mentioned many times the different, I call them the IT operational benefits of virtualization, that of scalability, that of redundancy, failover, backup. Anybody who's into CISSP type of certification, this is all near and dear to your hearts, because this is what corporations really need. For you to be an effective IT manager at an enterprise, or heck, even at home, if you've got any kind of personal data, your password key storage, your favorite sites, all your best downloads, you don't want all of that to be wiped away. You want to be sure that you've got an ability to easily back up, easily bring back into compliance, or bring a good operating image back in place of something that's been compromised through a rollback process. But these are all operational benefits that core virtualization techniques have that bring to security. They bring to security risk management. Disaster recovery and business continuity. Big time stuff in the world today. Secure virtualization. Now, protecting the consolidated workloads, we're getting at that, and monitoring and protecting the VM communications, how to be dealing with the offloaded or the offline VMs that are proliferating, the VM sprawl. These are all real challenges that are facing industry today. There are no solutions that are at least in great great availability and use. There's a lot of good thoughts here at the university that I've been plugging into. McAfee's been working on a lot of leading edge types of techniques, many of which I'm describing here. And for the record, none of this is a promise, a forecast, or an availability of product. Some may happen, some may not. But this is what any reasonably intelligent individual would be able to think of when coming to the point of having, realizing that there's two convergent technologies in the industry today. And again, virtualization and security. There's got to be benefit. There's also going to be drawback and some problems. I mentioned a couple before. The single point of failure is a big thing. IT people rushing to implement these techniques are going to be experiencing some really real challenges with respect to putting all their eggs in one basket. If you have, again, my example, I used 8 virtual servers running on one piece of hardware. If that hardware goes down, man, you're in a lot of trouble, because you'll have immediately the need to replace 8 servers that are gone. So you've got to be thinking along the lines of how to manage that scalability in a segmented, in a managed way. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Have a bunch of baskets with all your eggs in them. Procedures and processes all need to be changed in the enterprise. These items that I've been mentioning here today are the ones that you specifically are going to be helping us in industry, helping all of industry to be solving. The techniques that you're learning about, whether it's programming techniques, specific approaches for analyzing memory space and deriving different static and dynamic analysis tools from all of these are going to be used in effective enterprise, helping to protect that cycle of security life, which is incredibly important. Again, to the IT people, to the shareholders, to keeping the CEO out of jail, and to keep folks like you and me having jobs ultimately in the day-to-day types of operations. These are the kind of things that I really wanted to share with you today and give you, on one hand, it's a bit of a broader visibility to the opportunity of virtualization that it offers us, a bit of the technical areas of implementation of that opportunity, and then lastly, some of the challenges that we still have. We don't have all the answers, and they're going to be pretty tough answers to come up with. I mean, for example, if we did not have ways to, if the VM vendors were proprietary with their the structure of their offline VM images, in other words, that VMs 59 through 63 that are off on a server someplace, and if there's no way to crack it open and to scan it for malware, to scan it to see if it's properly provisioned, to pump in new antivirus signatures, updates from the manufacturer. If there's no way to do that, we've got a big problem. But then again, if there's no way to do it, then by definition there will be a need to do it, because virtualization offers that much of an opportunity to the IT community. Are there questions? I've been going at a pretty good rate. I appreciate your attention. Questions I can entertain right now?
Let's see if I can get this to turn on here. There we go. So, George, that's a fairly comprehensive overview of virtualization that purports to solve many of the problems we have, but a lot of the advantages, in fact most of the advantages that you highlighted, can actually be turned around to be problems. And some of them are security problems, in the sense that if the hypervisor is compromised, we don't have any evidence of the compromise in the virtual memory images that help with forensics or even being able to tell we've been had. And the stealth monitoring is another example. I'm not going to go through all of them. But with stealth monitoring, the ability to spy on, violate privacy, filter off information is greatly enabled because we no longer are able to observe when that's being done to us. And so I don't see that there are clear advantages to this technology, and I wonder if you'd care to comment.
I think you're right.